In the latest Nielsen ratings for Ahsoka, it almost appears like the show gained in popularity. The episode, which featured the member berries of Anakin, the world between worlds, or was it a fever dream, who knows? Well, it has more minutes watched on Nielsen than the prior episode, so surely Ahsoka grew. Yet Samba TV tells us the finale was in the gutter. So what's happening here, folks? Well, we've got the explanation. And although the numbers grew for Nielsen, if you dig a little deeper, you'll find out that Ahsoka was shrinking the entire time. Hello folks, welcome back to the WDW Pro channel. You are greatly treasured here. We're so happy that you are here listening in and learning as we explain entertainment and attempt to keep you ahead of that culture curve. When it comes to Ahsoka, we are paying very close attention to what is going on with Star Wars. Is it popular? Is it not? Is it dwindling? Is it dead? Well, we've got some explanations when it comes to what is going on with the Nielsen ratings. It comes down to some very simple math, but it also is something that you are unlikely to hear almost anywhere else outside of this channel and a few of our friends who are declaring the truth and declaring it loudly. Let's dive in now, and we're going to explain to you why the latest numbers with the Anakin episode show that Ahsoka is in really bad trouble. And folks, we know where it's going due to Samba TV. It ain't going to get better. Valiant, you nailed it. We had the Lucasfilm contact who came out to us about 72 hours ago and said, hey, the show declines the whole way through. Lucasfilm is freaking out. The Loki thing, that's what they're going to blame it on. They think Disney betrayed them, yada, yada, yada. You ran the numbers as well. You discovered, hey, I think the show is going to come in at about exactly where we're looking at now.
Yep.
And that it's going to have a precipitous drop after this. So walk us through, Valiant, how it is that you're that good that you know Star Wars better than the Star Wars folks at Lucasfilm, which, well, that's not saying much, but you know it better than a lot of people beyond them as well.
Well, I indicated the other day when Samba came out with their finale numbers of 863,000, and I did a video on that, and I'm like, I'm kind of tired of talking about it, so I've got to update this. So 863,000 from there, and I said, based on what I'm looking at on the graph that I created for Nielsen, it looks like they're going to align pretty well. The Nielsen numbers came out today, and we're right on track. Let me bring this up. I was trying to put this backstage earlier. I didn't mean to slam it on the screen. But let's look at this, and I'll kind of re-explain what I did here. This is just a custom calculator that I built that'll work going forward for any episodic release when we're looking at.
You mean we don't make this crap up? I'm confused.
I don't make this crap up.
I thought we just threw this on a bingo wall and saw what happened.
So if you look, I've got episodes 1 and 2 combined because they released on the same week, and then episodes 3 through 8. Just to remind folks, I even adjusted 5 minutes out of the first week of runtime to help Ahsoka, because every other week only has a single end credits, whereas in the first week you had 2 episodes, 2 sets of end credits. I'm like, let's take that off so it doesn't dilute the numbers erroneously. So I adjusted basically to make everything as equal as possible. Now, what you're looking at here is, if you look, episode runtime, important column to note, that is the stated IMDb runtimes of every single episode, with the first 2 combined, obviously, minus 5 minutes for adjustment. What we had in episode 4 last week, we got the cameo, right? Big cameo when they released the Nielsen numbers. That's where Anakin shows back up, and a lot of people were telling us, "Oh, this is it. This is gonna boost the Ahsoka numbers. This is gonna do it, right? Anakin coming back. Everybody's gonna rah rah rah." Well, it didn't happen. We would have expected last week, as I stated in the video, if the audience from week 2 on Nielsen had held and repeated their behavior in week 3 with episode 4. Nielsen should have reported, if you look over to the right of center column, 528.742, 528 million minutes is what we would have expected under the week over week. That's what WOW stands for. Week over week minutes watched delta, or the change in the week over week minutes watched, predicted with an audience hold, meaning that, again, audience repeats the pattern from one week to the next. This is what we should get. We expected 528 million watch minutes for episode 4. Nielsen reported 459. This week, okay, so we said that's at least a bare minimum of a loss of 13.19% of the Ahsoka audience. It's probably more. This week, if that audience for episode 4 had repeated its behavior into week 5, in other words, a static hold, we should have gotten, based on the 34.21% additional runtime, an extra 13 minutes over the 38 minutes from episode 4, we should have seen 616 million minutes watched reported on Nielsen today.
Boom, math, folks.
We got 577. So we lost, wow, perceived audience delta expected versus actual. It's the one just to the left of that blue column. So last week we lost 13% of the audience. This week we were expecting somewhere between 0 and 13. Look where it hit, almost exactly at the midpoint of 6.34. Guess what, folks? If I extrapolate and compound this data out all the way through week 8, guess what you're going to get? You're going to get an audience loss of about 28 to 32%, which is exactly what Samba TV reported yesterday, with 863,000 having watched the final episode compared to the 1.2 million of the first.
Valiant
Math
is Samba.
is math.
Confirmed.
Well, the other fantastic thing about this too is, we've been saying that if these kinds of numbers were to have happened for linear broadcast, and we've got some folks out in the audience who have worked in linear broadcast in the past, I think the show would have been canceled. I don't think there's any way that this show survives to a second season if it drops 35% of its audience by the finale.
And costs $200 million to make.
That's the issue with the money they spent on it. Yes, if this was a $100 million show, fine. If they felt like they were building something and, oh my God, merch sales are exploding right now, looking at you, One Piece, we'd be having a different conversation, but it isn't. It's still still $20 million an episode, whatever they're spending on this junk, maybe more, probably 25, knowing Disney. They go way overboard on everything.
And the big question we have, of course,
is
whether people are actually canceling their subscriptions because of this, because they promised big and they delivered mid to low on this show. And, it's anecdotal to watch all those Twitter posts of people canceling their subscriptions. Nobody's saying, by the way, I got Disney Plus because I wanted to watch this show. That's not happening very much.
Well, they lost 300,000 subs in the quarter that they released Mando Season 3 in North America.
Yes, they did.
So what do you think they lost this quarter?
And this is doing worse than Mando.
Yeah.
Well, because Loki is the only thing that even compares, apparently, because they want to brag about Loki's premiere being the second biggest premiere of the year next to Mando. And Mando did not do that well.
The November report is going to be interesting. That is a wrap for today, folks. But what a pleasure it has been that you joined us. Now, if you would like to extend the pleasure, we sure would appreciate a like, a share, a subscribe, and click it, stick it to the algorithms. It's the notification bell. Also, we covet your comments. We care about what you think. So drop a thought down below and let us know how we did with this and what you believe to be true about Ahsoka and Star Wars in general. Folks, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.